I was like, where's this hole at? And he goes, hole? What are you talking about? And I was like, the horse was in a hole. He goes, it wasn't in a hole. It was in a septic tank. And I was like, it was in a septic tank?
Welcome to Unhinged and On-Call, where the pets are unpredictable, the clients are intense, and the stories are wilder than a Jack Russell on espresso. I'm Chelsea, your resident veterinarian with a front row seat to the chaos.
And I'm Trish, a registered vet tech and expert in surviving the madness with a syringe in one hand and snacks in the other. We're here to share the wonderful, weird, and downright unhinged realities of life in vet med. So grab your stethoscope and maybe a drink, because let's face it, this field will break your heart, heal your soul, and then try to bite you all before lunch.
Buckle up for some chaos and a whole lot of support for the folks riding this emotional roller coaster right along with us, because these vet truck confessions are about to get wild. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. I wanted to just give a little bit of background about ourselves in veterinary medicine and just kind of why we're here so that you know.
Yeah.
I'm Chelsea Ludke. I'm a veterinarian, graduated from Colorado State University in 2011. Did an equine internship in Virginia, then did 3 years of mixed animal practice in Wisconsin, which was a great place to work, an awesome clinic, and then finally made my way back to Colorado in 2015 with my husband, who's also an equine veterinarian. We opened our own practice in 2017 and have been seeing horses ever since, and loving the Front Range of Denver and just kind of all it has to offer.
Yeah. And I'm Trish. I am a registered veterinary technician here in Colorado. I believe for 10 years now.
Yeah.
Oh, so crazy. But I did start out as the crazy horse girl when I was younger. So I grew up around horses, loving horses, and knew that when I started my vet med career, that was where my focus would lead me, is through the equine side of things. So I did my internship after all my school at a equine clinic here in Colorado, and worked for another equine clinic after that as well. So I've done ambulatory work, surgical services, patient care coordination, and a myriad of things in between as well. So I'm excited to represent the technician side here, and our whole goal with Unhinged and On-Call is to bring our veterinary community together. We know more than anybody that it can be really isolating and feel like, just through the ups and downs of daily practice and all of that there's ebbs and flows and really big highs and lows and all of those things. So we want to just create a community around this, just to let you guys know that you're not alone. And somewhere out there, a vet tech or a veterinarian is out there doing the same thing you are, and we're all in this together. So we're hoping to bring that community together a little bit and help lift everybody up with a little bit of laughter and funniness. Hopefully and stories.
Yes. Our goal is laughter, because if we're not laughing, we're probably crying, because there's a lot of crappy things that happen. And then there's, we'll also bring miracles to the table too, with a lot of the stories we've had that a lot of times shock us, because you don't think things are going to turn out the way they do. So a little bit of a somber topic, but veterinary technicians and their lifespans have been decreasing pretty substantially. So when I went through college, I think it was probably 10-year lifespan for most veterinary technicians. We're down to under 5 years is how long techs stay in the field. And I'm saying credentialed technicians that have paid a substantial amount of money for their education. It is not cheap to go to technician school. And of course, there's other titles, there's specialty techs and all of that. And it is almost like just a spinning wheel, essentially. And it feels like you have to get off it at some point for your own quality of life. And so, and the unfortunate thing is that extends into, of course, large animal practice as well, as the numbers are dwindling. There's less veterinarians and graduates going into large animal practice, especially equine. And there's some predictions that we're essentially not going to have enough vets for the amount of horses and large animals that are out there, and that the current model of having ambulatory vets is not sustainable. So while we, of course, have enjoyed our careers in veterinary medicine, and we want to keep supporting people that want to come into it, we also have to address the writing on the wall is that it's really hard to have a good quality of life and be a veterinarian on call, a technician that gets paid poorly, just all the things that should be fulfilling about veterinary medicine and us wanting to be around animals all day and take care of them and help them. We're all healers at heart, is also really taxing.
And compassion fatigue, right? It's compassion fatigue and burnout, and not only dealing with animals, because you hear a lot of people, new technicians or veterinarians or what have you, when you first start out and you're like, I don't like people, I just want to work on animals. And it's like, well, too bad, because a lot of times you're working with the clients and the owners and all of that. So it is a lot of working with people, which is very hard. It's a very hard thing to do. So alongside that, with trying to save all of the lives and, the grim reality of some of those cases and all of that you have to take home with you, and you have to sleep at night with that. And then you have to wake up and you have to do it again. And that's what's, the compassion fatigue side of things that people, we hope, are able to talk a little bit more about. So while our podcast is funny stories, we joke around a lot, but we want to bring a little lightheartedness to the situations that you find yourselves in, that we almost have to laugh.
They're unbelievable.
A lot of them are grim stories, but you almost have to, kind of laugh through some of them sometimes,
And hoping that we can also come away with, animal care education too, for some people that maybe aren't in vet med. We want to welcome you as well. Is it's super important. We all love our pets and our animals. And we deal, we have a major level of sadness and grief and all of that on a daily basis, but it's exponential when it's your own animal. So we understand that, and we all have pets and horses and, and love them. But we're kind of here to lighten it up a bit, and just try to enjoy things and also learn along the way. So hopefully we can be that as kind of a resource, and then bringing people together is our goal. So well, stay tuned. Today we have a really fun guest with us. She's actually Trish's kind of first mentor, and we'll introduce her right after this break.
Yeah, we're so excited. Thanks.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at VetCS, your go-to for veterinarian-developed CBD and wellness products for your pets and horses. Founded by veterinary professionals, VetCS offers science-backed formulas made with premium hemp extracts to support calm behavior, joint health, and overall wellness, whether you're in the clinic or out at the barn. VetCS is all about helping animals live better naturally. Want to see what they're all about? Head over to vetcs.com to explore their full line of CBD products. Thanks, Brit, for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about your background in vet med?
Yeah, well, I am very excited to be on the podcast Unhinged and On-Call with both of you. So I was a certified veterinary technician for over 10 years, and I retired in 2017 and moved into human resources. But before that, I worked with both of you at a practice here in Colorado, and most of my experience as a certified vet tech was with horses, first in Minnesota, and then moved out here to Colorado and worked at 2 equine practices out here in Colorado.
Perfect. Well, we're excited to talk about a very influential story that I guess happened as soon as Trish joined. She was doing her internship after graduating from tech school, or to fulfill her graduation requirements. And this was one of her very first calls. So, Brit, why don't you lead us off?
Yeah. So at this point, I believe I had been with this particular practice for well over a year, and working with you, Chelsea, and your husband, Brit, for about, I don't think it was quite a year, maybe 6 to 8 months before Trish joined on. And before I get to the story, I have a really awesome story about Trish to share, how she even got her internship with us. And that was, Trish and I had worked together. She had volunteered to work with neonatal foals at a different clinic that I was working at. And she really enjoyed working with me. So when I was at her tech school, She wanted to get my attention. And after I was done presenting, she had to raise her hand so I would remember her face. And that's how Trish got her internship. And actually,
That's how you do it.
Very first intern at this particular clinic. So, yeah, we get out. So this was, I want to say it was like this time of year. I remember it being like a drizzly morning, but it was kind of nice out. And like I just had like a rain jacket on. And I remember being particularly upset because I was having a really great hair day that day. And I was like, now we have to go out in the rain. And I was just like, anyway.
So, now this rain's going to ruin my hair.
That's what I think of.
Yeah, me too.
Adjusting my hair.
Well, when you like big hair, like the rain weighs it down. But anyway, so we get a call, and the only detail the call said was the horse was in a hole. And
the fire department called.
Yes,
correct.
The fire department.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so like that was the only information we got, was the horse was in a hole. We didn't know for how long, and we didn't know if the horse had any injuries. And this is in rural Colorado, and I wouldn't say a very wealthy neighborhood. So like we had no idea what we were getting into. So it was Trisha's first call. She was a little nervous. But we were like, you got the best team behind you. Well, at that point, we didn't know it was very run down. So yeah, we show up, and this property had so much shit laying around. Just like rundown cars, a lot of like sheet metal, I remember. And like it didn't, like the horse didn't have a proper pasture with fencing. Like I remember it being like pallets and like loose wire. But when we got there, the horse was out of the hole. It was standing, and it had a comforter over it. And it was like, it was in shock. It was shaking, right? It did not look good. And there were about, I want to say like 6 or 7 people around this horse. So we like drove up into the pasture. We didn't have a barn or anything like that. And like, because Trish was, learning, I held the horse, and I had, gave Trish that opportunity to support you, Dr. Chelsea, in the exam of this horse. So I'm sitting there, I'm petting it, chatting with everyone. And I distinctly remember everyone just chain smoking.
Everyone 1,000%. Chain smoking. I remember. So much cigarette smoke.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And you couldn't like tell about anything else that was going on outside of these people being frantic and chain smoking.
The whole time. The whole time we were there, constant cigarette smoke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. And so I don't remember where you went, Dr. Chelsea, but Trish and I were just standing by this horse. Maybe you were talking like separately to the owners, because this thing was in shock. Like it was
very shocking.
It's crazy. It was a really sick horse. So I'm sitting there petting it, and a sheriff was right next to me. And because the horse was out of the hole, I was like, hey, out of curiosity, I was like, where's this hole at? And he goes, hole? What are you talking about? And I was like, the horse was in a hole. He goes, it wasn't in a hole. It was in a septic tank. And I was like, it was in a septic tank? And I was like, was it active? And he's like, yeah, it was running water. It was right next to the house. Yeah, it was. And I was like, I looked down, I was like, got to be fucking kidding me. Right? And he's like,
seriously,
no,
nobody told us. You don't just let people come and touch an animal that's covered in like septic tank meals. Yes. It was so, and we were talking about it between ourselves. We were like, this is like This is not
This
mud.
is
What is
thick.
this?
This is like clay, because it is not uncommon in Colorado for the mud to have like clay in it too,
Yeah,
like thick,
but
like
it
weird. But it was
had
weird.
meal.
It was not good.
It was gritty.
And I have to say, I feel like, because I don't remember where I was when you were doing this and talking to this guy. I think I was maybe with Chelsea doing, grabbing stuff at the back of the truck, because I do remember, and maybe it was at the same time you were talking to the sheriff, the fire department was back by our truck talking with you also.
Okay.
And because I remember at some point someone telling Chelsea also. So you found out on your own with the horse. Chelsea, I think, found out from the fire department being right there, being like, yeah, it's in a septic tank. Because I remember her double taking and be like, I'm sorry, what? It was what? Like she was like, it came from where? And I think it clicked for all of us at the same time. Yeah.
And we've all touched the horse.
We've all touched the horse.
None of us have gloves on.
or
Because
masks.
Nothing.
Nothing.
And we walk up like bozos and start comforting this horse. And Brit got the worst of it. And we have pictures. We'll throw those up here.
And
as long as she agrees.
Oh, absolutely. And like but I distinctly remember, why didn't I like smell this shit? But it was all the chain smoking. Like you couldn't smell anything else but the smoke. And then I remember asking the police officer, I was like, how active was this tank? I was like, were there floating turds? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, son of a bitch. I was like, what? What?
And here is the PSA, folks. Unprotected septic tanks are unsafe for animals. For children. I didn't know those existed until this day.
Yeah.
Like I just thought they were all covered.
All covered.
Well contained. That's standard, I thought.
And that horse owners cared enough to put their horses in a contained area to keep it safe. Like this one could just like walk up to the house, and to be that close to a septic tank.
Well, and do you remember? So then there's drama because the person who boarding her horse in this pasture and paying per month, right, is not the owner of the farm.
That's right. Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a farm. Owner of this place.
Right.
And so then there's drama between these two parties because this owner thinks the landowner should pay. The owner of the horse thinks the landowner should pay.
Yes.
And like obviously the landowner doesn't want anything to do with it. She was like, there was plywood or, whatever, but it fell off. And so the horse should have never been up by the house to begin with. And then when it comes down to it, we're assessing it. We give it its initial round of meds. It is so shocky. It's unreal. So we know that we do need to get it back to the clinic and treat it with fluids and good antibiotics and all that. The horse has like multiple open wounds into joints. I remember 3 or 4 joints that were affected, and synovial fluids just like coming out. So in horses they have one joint, and that's the odds are stacked against them if it's an open contaminated wound into a joint. This horse had 3 or 4, and it was septic tank contaminated.
Well, yeah, because when you walk up to assess something, right, and it's covered in something, you need to clean it off first to see. So Chelsea's having to go right, and to actually see what's the bleeding and all of that is covered with.
That point, it was all sewage. So, and then of course, unfortunately, this owner had $0, and she basically said she couldn't pay us anything for any of this. And so I don't know where this all. Of course, we all have bleeding hearts, but like somehow we brought it back to our clinic. So that we can clean it up, because at this point there's no hose, there's nothing we can even clean this horse with. So now all of us have to get in the truck. Brit is covered and has to get in our truck, our work truck that we have to use again, and we can't just burn it. It's our bosses. We cannot burn the truck,
and we use it all day. And this is the beginning of the day, right? Wasn't this
it was like 8 a.m.
First thing
we all walk into this, probably a Monday, I don't know. Probably. But it was literally, we had to Brit we got her in the truck, and I have the picture where she's just sitting and not touching anything because it's all over all of us, but the worst for her. And her face, it's just like oh God, I don't know why you didn't run away that day.
Seriously.
And never come back.
I'm done.
At that point, like when your viewers see me in the car looking so sad and my hands are covered in human shit, just know that at that moment I'm thinking, and I had such a good hair day today, and now it's ruined.
Damn it.
So
Within
when we
1
got
hour.
back to the clinic and we were waiting for the horse to get to the clinic, we had to wash ourselves off somehow.
Mhm.
And this clinic didn't have a shower, so we basically took horse baths in the bathroom, and I had to wash my hair with fucking soft soap. And I was like, this is worst case scenario for any hair care solution. I was so mad that they
Oh
didn't.
my God.
Oh,
Right? You could
just
have
when you
put like a little cap on, and I could have gone on my day with a good
all
hair
the things.
day.
If we had known, it would be.
I don't
mean,
understand, like, when they call in and they're like, this horse is in a
God.
hole. Like, why initially are they just
Septic
not telling?
tank.
Like, there is a horse in a septic tank.
Yeah.
We can still come help, right? We just
My
have to
God.
be prepared for what we're walking into,
Yes,
which,
we still would have gone.
yeah.
And we didn't get paid for anything. But and do you guys remember this too? Be like, and super nice horse and owner and all that. It obviously did not end well. She couldn't afford surgery, which is what that horse needed.
Yeah.
And so we took care of it. We gave it pain meds and all that. But the backlash, I don't know if you guys remember this. There was another area veterinarian after this that heard about this case and then said that our clinic was contaminated.
Shut up.
Yes.
I don't remember this.
Because we brought the horse in. And, and everything, of course.
If you recall, we never put that horse in the door. It was outside the garage doors, and that's where we hosted off. So,
but this veterinarian got crazy.
Because we did. So at the clinic we were at, there's a drive up area. Yeah. So you don't always have to bring them through. There's a whole, you drive the trailer around the back and around the side. So there's an outdoor area, right, to work on stuff.
So we had it set up. You could disinfect anything. You know what I mean? It was very easy to clean and built for that. So
correct.
It was just silly that like this whole story and the fact that we're all exposed to septic tank sludge and this poor horse, and then there's backlash, I don't think we ever got $1 from that. It was just, and it was the whole morning because then we had to move all our calls, right? And like reroute and obviously change our clothes and shower. Yeah. I mean, it was awful. So.
And like looking back at that whole situation and now being in human resources, like we didn't have work comp set up, or it wasn't something like very well known for us because we were so small, right?
Yeah.
Like obviously we were covered for work comp insurance, but like looking back, we should have all been filed and we should have dropped everything that day, went and got seen and evaluated, tested. Who knows? Maybe
it was just like, it's another day.
Let's go to the next call.
I mean, it's kind of like, that's large animal though. It's just dirty all the time. You're just doing random crazy stuff all the time,
but not human feces.
Not human feet, not human shit. That's
that's
not.
That's like over the top. No, we don't do that.
Yeah.
But we all showed up the next day. I mean, that's the crazy thing is you just keep coming back.
Exactly. Yeah, and you're just like,
have you had anything close to that with like, have you like you'd never seen anything like that before, Brit? And
no.
I mean, 10 years. No. And Chelsea, you've never seen
a lot
anything
of
since like
down horses in like ditches,
right?
in
like holes,
wrong way, whatever. But nothing that is
septic,
that contaminated. Oh my lordy!
Thank
goodness, I don't know that I would go.
And I wonder a little bit.
I respectfully
the location, right, where it was much more rural. Again, not a lot of money for those families. The backyard horses, not a lot of show horses, right? Like I wonder if that kind of had a little bit of influence. But again, I think the issue was, you have these people who watch out for the public, police and firemen, and they didn't tell us.
I know. Come on.
Right? It's like, what?
Yeah. Well,
And
it's
then
crazy actually for
was
them
that property
too.
condemned after that? Because like they
I was
couldn't
gonna say that. I
There was
thought there was
something,
that
yeah.
septic
something
tank.
taped off at some point or whatever. I remember the men making me feel uncozy. Like
Yes.
just
Oh,
the ones
the
that were chain
people that were
smoking. Yeah,
there.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. It was kind of like
They
a
were
next level type of
mad that we were there.
person. They were not happy.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
It
and that's
was
fun too, like
not
thinking
feeling
about your,
safe.
at least we
Yeah.
had first responders, so it
Yeah.
wasn't like
Right.
unsafe.
Right.
And thank goodness they were there, because there are calls where like I go on in the middle of the night and you sometimes do feel unsafe, and it's just I mean, generally people are good at heart and they just want you to help their animal. But there are times where you should probably be more concerned about your safety than I usually am. So yeah, at least I feel like we had a good buffer because we had first responders there. There was,
True. Thanks, guys.
It could have been worse, guys. It could have been worse. It can always be worse.
Yeah.
No, I.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Seen a lot of neurologic horses that were down, but yeah, nothing like this. Nothing
Yeah,
like this.
this is
Yeah.
next level.
And Brit was like an ICU technician too. So she saw a
Yeah.
lot of crazy scenarios and things like
Mhm.
that. And I feel like this story, just for me personally, when I just talk about like when I was starting out, or this is the story for me. I'm like, there's a fucking horse in a septic tank. We didn't know it. Like, this is the story that I like tell people
Yeah.
because it's that ingrained,
Yeah.
this is the one.
I can only think of one other like scenario that happened to me in veterinary medicine that I remember very distinctly, but this one again takes the cake. Yes.
Well, now you have to.
Do you need to share
Yeah.
with the
I
class?
feel like that was a good opener.
Right. And it's just a really unfortunate, it's not a funny story at all. It's just
Okay.
in the other clinic that I was working at, I strictly stayed at the clinic. It wasn't ambulatory, or my position wasn't. So one day I got to go out. I had to deliver x-ray equipment to the on-call vet because they had forgotten it, and because the information they got on their emergency wasn't accurate. So it ended up being a fracture, like really high up near the shoulder on a front leg. And I just remember like just really struggling, one, to get a good x-ray, and two, like this horse had done it way out in a back pasture. So like trying to get this poor thing to a trailer or a spot where we could then like actually evaluate it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
But there
always
was
happens in the
another
worst
situation
I know.
where we in this other clinic, not the one that we worked at, where the most exotic animal I ever saw was a zebra. Someone had a pet zebra, except
mean.
it was feral.
How mean. They're always mean.
It was no, you couldn't get near it.
Oh, yeah.
We
Well,
legit had to dart it while it was in the trailer.
Oh man.
Yeah. And then, but this one also had a fracture, but these people had so much money because they had exotic animals, and like they opened up their property for people to visit them. And they had a lot of money. They wanted to do surgery on this zebra, and that had like a distal limb fracture. And I was like, how are we going to treat this thing for the next 2 weeks?
Recover it in a cast.
Yeah, recover it. Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good
They're
idea.
like, no, we want to do it. And luckily that doctor was just like, there's no way to keep staff safe to treat this thing. Like, there's no way. No way.
That's right. They're super aggressive. I mean, even because we have some clients with some donkeys and half zebra breds, and they're better, half of course, but but full zebras are just scary. And that is why Brett and I don't own a dart gun, because if you own a dart gun,
then you're the one with the dart gun.
Then everybody knows, and they call you for like the most feral rank animals, and it's dangerous. Yeah.
I remember being on a call with you one time. Just the word feral is making me laugh, and I just have to say it. We like pulled up to this house. I forget what we were doing. It was like minor. Like it was like vaccines or something. It was not a huge appointment.
I remember exactly. Yeah.
Yes. And we pulled up and the owner was out of town. So, and that happened. That's very common for owners to be like, oh, I know you, just come on and, I'll leave it open for you guys, the fence, and you can just hop over and do what you need to do. Right. So we pull up and me and Chelsea go in there, and these horses, I think there were 2 or 3, a few, would not allow us to catch them at all. And we're pretty good.
They knew
and they knew what they're doing. So there's a frustration with horses that are untrained versus the ones that are trained, but they're just not having it.
Yeah, right.
A
bad day.
And they're rearing. Some of them are rearing. Like, it was crazy. We were like, this is not who you are. We know who you are. And Chelsea is like, with the lead rope, you are feral. Like, she's getting so because we've been there for so long. And we know we just have to poke the thing and leave.
But we can't even touch it. We can't even get close to it. And I'm like,
that's still like engraved in my brain. Anytime I heard the word feral, I hear Chelsea. I'm like, you are feral. It's just, and I'm like, yeah.
I don't know why that made me feel better either. Like, normally, like, saying something like that does not make you feel better, but in that moment, it did.
It's so funny.
I don't know. It's crazy. You never know what you're going to get. That's the whole point of this.
True. Yes.
It's unknown.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, thank you for your time today, Brit. We super appreciate it. And we're glad that you don't have to touch human feces on a day-to-day job anymore.
No, I just deal with shit every day. Yeah.
It's a different kind. A different kind of shit.
And hopefully you get paid more than being a tech.
Right. Yes.
To deal with
I
shit.
miss it a lot, especially this time of year with the foals. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
you're so good at it, Brit.
Right? Like, it was, I still miss it a lot. And when, like, I use the veterinarians of one of the clinics I used to work at, and every time they come out, they're always like, we're hiring. And I was like, I know, like, the pay is a bit better than it was 10 years ago, but the one thing I really hope for veterinary medicine in the future is that it's a livable wage for the technicians. So,
amen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I will say too, that just as a technician starting out, even though we were talking about you teaching me and all of that and joking around with that in the beginning, but you truly were a reason why I enjoyed it, because there's a huge difference. There's so many colleagues of mine that are, they just are so unhappy where they are because of the education side, because they go into a clinic and it's like, well, figure it out. And if you don't figure it out, you're not good enough. And then it, fatigue and all the things set in. So the both of you like made a huge difference just for me as an individual, just enjoying it and feeling like I wasn't dumb. Cause the fluid bag thing, it wasn't, that's funny, and it made it lighthearted for me. And I remember, I'll never forget it. Right. And so you actually are teaching people in a nice way. And I really hope that message kind of gets out there to others also, like, be kind, because you're training the future.
We're all doing the same things.
We're all trying our best.
Different times.
Different shit
every day.
Like, in my experience, it was always like, no one wanted to share tribal knowledge. And it's like, why? What are you getting out of that outside of, like, you think it's job protection, but really you're just alienating yourself, right? Like, you guys can work as a team. And I think that's why, one, we're still friends now, even though we haven't worked together in almost 10 years, is we really built a great culture of inclusivity at that clinic. And
1000%.
It was so much fun. I've never had more fun working in veterinary medicine than those years with the people we worked with, especially Enrique.
Enrique, shout out to Enrique. He will send this. I'll send it to him. Hey, Enrique. He shares a birthday with me. We are August 19th Leos. We have the same birthday.
He's the best.
Yes, amazing.
Well, shout out to you, because you built that. I mean,
seriously,
you were there the longest and the OG. So it was a great
lot
place.
of fun. Yeah, until it wasn't.
Until
topic for another day.
Yes. Shit hit the fan.
Literally. Lucky to have you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Brit. We're so lucky to have you, and we appreciate you spending time with us today to tell us about all the shit.
I appreciate the invite, and it's so good to see you guys again. I really miss working with you.
You too. We miss
Same
you.
here.
Yep. Same, girl.
Yeah, always and forever.
Okay. Bye.
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 Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe and follow us for all the latest updates. Unhinged and On-Call isn't just a podcast. It's a lifeline for every veterinary professional barely holding it together with vet wrap and caffeine. Somewhere out there, another tech, vet, or assistant is deep in the same chaos, dodging poop, managing meltdowns, and wondering if they're the only one unraveling. You're not. Whether you're laughing or crying or rage cleaning your truck, you've got a whole tribe behind you. You're unhinged, but never alone.